any further, quick question, quick show of hands, all those who went to Great Yarmouth. Yeah? It was about 2 coach loads. Yeah, wonderful. Okay. Did you have a good time? A bit chilly. Did you enjoy it? Okay. Did you go to the market? Yes. Did you buy the chips? Yes. Who said yes? Who said no? Well, for those who said no, I've got a secret for you. You missed out on a real treat.
And that funny stuff they sell.
And what, my darling?
That funny stuff.
Try it. Try it all, yeah. Did you go to that store where you get the try and the jot and the read and oh?
Yes.
Wonderful. What I sometimes do is get some chips and then get a quarter of jot on top and some onion and pepper cut.
They say it makes you potent.
Makes you what? Potent? Listen, when you got on top of me this afternoon, I felt very important. I thought, my God, he's making me feel so important. Oh dear. That was a lot of fun, Eric. It was great. Now, the reason I ask about all these things is, I don't need to realise, but on Yarmouth there's about 6, 7 chip stores, and that's all they sell, chips, nothing else. And there's always a queue outside every one, 6 days a week, non-stop, chips, chips, chips. And I was down there a few weeks ago, I wasn't starved. They got 3 prices on these chips, 55 pence, 55, 70 and 85, I think it is, something like that, see. Wasn't that starving, but I fancied a few chips, so I got my little packet of chips, the cone it was, I think, wooden fork, 55p, not the onion vinegar, salt, and off I go through the market, checking all the stalls around, and bits and pieces like that, see. And as I'm wandering around eating my chips, I was trying to work out in my mind, is there anybody here old enough to remember what I call real money? Yeah. You know the golden amount. Well, I was trying to work out this 55 pence in real money, you see. Do you know what it turned out to be? 11 shillings. 11 bob for the smallest bag of chips you can buy. And you see, when you say it out loud like that and you think, my God, 11 shillings. When I was a kid, you couldn't carry 11 shillings worth of chips, could you? The world has changed beyond recognition now. If our chippy sold 11 bobs worth of chips, he shut the shop for a week and cleared off on holiday. 11 bobs worth of chips was like that. And now it's 11 shillings for the smallest bag of chips you can buy. And I don't know if you know, I mean, we all have our own thoughts about inflation and price rises and why and wherefore. I think we started a bit of a slow downward spiral in this country, in Britain, if you like, when we went decimal. What do you think? Yeah? I'm sure you know, if you think about it seriously, just look back. Before that, we had an empire, we had a commonwealth, people all over the world looked up to us and listened to what we had to say. They took notice of everything we did. Do you know why? Because they didn't know what we were doing, that's why. They all had 10 of this and 100 of that, didn't they? You see? Not us. We had 240 pennies in our pound, didn't we? 12 pence to a shilling, 20 shillings to a pound, 8 half crowns to a pound, 4 farthings to a penny. Nobody knew what the hell we were up to. We were getting away with murder. Americans used to come over here in their droves. Get into a taxi, go round the corner. Well, thank you, cabby. How much to owe you? Well, that'll be 5 bob, governor. 5 bob? What's 5 bob? Oh, just give me 7 of those 10 shilling notes. We ruled, you see? And then it all went decimal, and everything went wrong, and everything was twice the price and half the size overnight, wasn't it? And they're still doing it now, you know. They're still working the same. You can't get a gallon of petrol anymore, can you? It's all those litres. Shoes. I walked into a shoe shop last summer, Great Yarmouth, walked into this shop, shoes on this rack outside in a sale, summer sale, reduced from 35 quid to £14.99. I thought, they'll do. Lovely pair of some leather socks, I'll have some of them. Go into the shop and said, pair of those shoes, please. Outside. She said, certainly. So what size? I said, a 10. She said, oh, no. I said, oh. I said, you haven't got any 10. She said, no, you don't take a 10. I said, I do. I said, I do. I've always took these 10s. All your shoes are tough. These are 10s. No, she said, you don't take a 10, you take a 44. Now, can anybody explain why? Why they've done it? I don't. My mum, my poor old mum, the same things happened to her 4 weeks ago. She got the greengrocers, right? £5 of potatoes, please. He said, it's kilos now, love. Kilos. She said, well, give me £5 of bloody kilos. So she said, it's not fair, she's 80-year-old. You shouldn't do it, should you? And all those silly dark coins now that don't mean nothing, pennies and those. Do you remember when you had half a crown in your hand? You felt rich, didn't you? You could do something with half a crown. And those lovely threepenny bits with those shape to them, you know, they were thicker than a pound coin is now. Do you remember those little silver threepenny joeys? Yes. I used to love. Used to get those in your Christmas pudding. Yes. Yeah, I used to love them, searching around the pudding for Christmas threepenny joey. I used to get a threepenny joey as a tip off my granddad for taking the accumulator to be recharged. I know, I don't look my age, do I, really? An accumulator, for those who are not old enough to remember, an accumulator was a big glass battery full of acid. I mean, I wasn't allowed to touch it. It was really heavy. But Grandad used to lift it out the back of the wireless. What a good word, wireless. Put it on this trolley that he'd made with pram wheels on, a wooden trolley. I used to drag it across to Mr. Pitchford's shop, and he'd take it off, put it in his shop, and take another one that he'd charged up, put it on the trolley, take it back to me, Grandad. He'd lift it up, put it in the back of the wireless. Why they called it a wireless, I don't know. There was hundreds of wires in it, weren't there? And attach a couple of these wires to this glass accumulator thing, and tune into all his favourite programmes like, what, Down Your Way, In Town Tonight, Penny on a Drum, It Man, Henry Hall's Guest Night, yeah, Variety Bandbox, Happy Drone, remember Happy Drone? Round Spotter, Marino, and me, that's right. I used to get another threepenny joey on a Monday for Dolly Bluey. The old wreckage blew went in this big brown tub, and all the sheets went in there because my grandma wouldn't have the sheets out on the line unless they were whiter than O'Donnell's next door, right? And there I was with this, like a milking stool with a handle on it, wasn't it? Dolly, doing all that. Threepenny joey. I used to get another threepenny joey on a Sunday afternoon for tearing up the news of the world and all the weeks. Like you and all? Nah. God, blimey. Well, that's. I used to think I was the only kid in the world tearing up newspapers for and of course, the news of the world in those days, it was a big paper, wasn't it? Not a little tabloid. The big, you get a lot of sheets out of the news of the world, couldn't you? Sheets. And I didn't use woman's realm, that was a bit slippy, wasn't it? But all the other stuff. What, half again? Skewer? Bit of string? Through the corner and hang it on the nail the back of the lamp. Well, on the back of the lamp. Was your lamp down the yard? Right across the yard, I remember going across in the middle of the night, that candle. Don't sit quite the sheets on the way down. God love us, memory. And we never had a lock. We had a lock or a bolt on our levy. We used to have to sit there and cough. Or sing. Let people know you. Unless you had a long right leg. And a perfect sense of balance. Oh, listen, I can't tell you this. About a year ago now, I was invited to play in a charity golf match. between Nottingham and Mansfield, okay? And I'm a member of the Comedians Golfing Society, and together with some friends of ours, we're invited up there to play this charity golf match to raise money for what we call a chuckle bus, which is a bit like a sunshine coach, you know, that sort of thing. So, off we all set from all different parts of the world. I went up from here, you see, this part of the world here. It took me about 4 hours to get there. Got there about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Played this round of golf with an absolutely fantastic fella, lovely pro, White, I think his name was, and he won the Kenya Open. Absolutely fantastic golfer, lovely man too. And then after that, we were doing a show at a place called the Royal Hotel in Nottingham, again for the same charity that evening, you see. And all in all, we finished up with raising about £10,000. Absolutely fantastic, wonderful time we had. And they really looked after us. And they were putting us up free of charge in this hotel. So you can imagine all the rush. Up from here, there, 10:30, playing golf by about 11, quarter past 11. Got off the course about 4:30, back into the car, quick cup of tea, back into the car, into Nottingham, looking for this Royal Hotel, found the Royal Hotel, now I've got to find where to park the car, finally find a place to park, get into the Royal Hotel at reception about 6:30. Now we're doing a show at 7 o'clock that night, right? So I've got half an hour, I'm absolutely busting at the seams, and the receptionist gives me a key for my room, 614. My God, I'll never get up there in time. You know, I said, excuse me, have you got the gents? She said, yes, just round past the mirrors. I dropped everything and ran into the gents. First door I could find, pushed the door open, sat down, dropped my trousers, sat down before I realised, bolt missing off the door. And it's now too late, you're sat, right? I thought, oh my God. And that's when it all came flooding back, what I used to do. I thought, you can't sing or cough, can you? Not in a hotel. Ah, I remember. So I'm sitting down there like that. I've got my foot up against the door like that. And it opened outwards. I've never felt such a fool. I was so embarrassed. I couldn't believe it. There's a fella in trap 3 going, what's going on there? Anyway, I digress. Oh yeah, I used to get another threepenny, Joey. I lived in Deal, in Kent. From my bedroom, we were up on a hill, a place called Mill Hill, and from my bedroom window I could see right across the English Channel on a clear day, and you could see the cliffs of Calais and everything from there. And if I saw the buzz bombs coming before the siren went, we had a bell on our lamppost on the corner of the street, and we lived right on the corner. If I saw the buzz bombs coming, so run down, ring the bell, and that gave everybody around a few extra seconds to get out of the house and down the garden into the Anderson shop. That was the one down the garden, wasn't it? Morrison was indoors. That was like a cage. You ate off it and slept in it, didn't you? But the Anderson was half buried, ours was, down the bottom. That's right. Of course the siren would be going by then and everybody's traipsing down the garden into the Anderson shop, you see. Now my granddad had worked out this running order. He said, look, if the siren goes, or Brian or anybody rings the bell, we've got to go down the shelter. He said, we've got to go in the same strict order every time, he said. I'm first, my granddad. Leading the way. Then my mum, then the 7 kids, and my poor grandma at the back. Oh no, not my dad. No, my dad wasn't there. My dad was away. My dad was a prisoner of war. He was in Wormwood Scrubs. He wouldn't fight. That's a fib. That's a fib. That's the only fib you'll hear tonight, right? My dad. Okay, just a quick sort of recap on what happened when war was declared. Not everybody downed tools and ran off to volunteer, did they? Some of them hung back or waited to be called. Well, my dad was one of those. He didn't want to go. He had a lovely job, he had a beautiful wife, 7 kids, a nice home, didn't want to leave all that, did he? So he hung back, you see, and when he was finally called, they caught up with him, and he finally was called, he tried a few little tricks to get out. And he tried them on the Army Medical. Now ladies, you may not be aware, but an Army Medical concerns about 8 or 9 different doctors, and they all look at you for different things, you see. Now my dad, the first man my dad's gone to see is the eye specialist, right? So he thought he'd work his ticket there and try and get out. So he walked into this eye specialist like that. His doctor said, "What's wrong with you?" He said, "I'm short-sighted." He said, "Well, don't worry, we'll put you up the front." A1, next. So my dad's left open mouth, and the next man he sees is the bone specialist. He thinks, right, he'll try his luck there. So he's gone in like that. His doctor said, "What's wrong?" He said, "My right leg is 6 inches shorter than my left leg." So this doctor said, "Well, don't worry about it. Where you're going, the ground isn't all that even anyway." A1, next. So by now, he's panicking, right? And I do know this is true because exactly the same thing happened to me when I did my call-up. And gentlemen, it's probably happened to you. Any of you who've done your service. Ladies, if I can explain something, the last doctor you see in this Army Medical you don't see him as an individual, do you fellas? For some reason, after seeing all these doctors separately, for some reason this last man you see, they put you in groups of about 8. And they stick you in this room and they leave you all strip-strupped. Nowhere to put your hands. And you're waiting for this man to come into the room and say, "Cough." Or something, whatever. And you stood there like that, you know. Like soft meat, you and 7 strangers, you know. You think, oh, God. And the door's been left open, there's a draft coming in the car. And there's people walking past going, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, God's alive, I wish he'd hurry up. You're stupid stood here like this. I suppose I could check out the competition now while I'm here. You couldn't resist it, could you? But you've got to have a sneaky look down to your right, like that. The fella on your right-hand side, you go. Totally embarrassed, and this man finally arrives with a stick. A big, thick stick. You think, what the hell's he gonna, where's he shove it in? What? And he comes along the road with his stick and he's going. Oh, he won't touch it with his hands. He's going. Like a budgie on a perch. Or in my case, a seagull. Well, he did this to my dad. A cheeky, he went. Do you know what he said to my dad? He said, "Not very well blessed, are you?" My dad was never short of an answer. Always had an answer for everything. He said to him, he said, "Well, I thought we only had to fight them," he said. Which I thought was pretty good. And he was a good old desert rat, my dad. He was, did all his bit happen to Brooklyn, Alamein and back again, and so on, and so on. Yeah, good old desert rat. 8th Army, good old, a fine, tall, gentle giant. Anyway, I digress. Meanwhile, back to the plot. We're still running up the Anderson shelter. Grandad up the front, then my mum, then the 7 kids, and my grandma bringing up the rear with a pole. Potty, Jerry gets under. grandma was a Yorkshire woman. She called it a Poe. I remember it's a big white family-sized one it was, with all roses on it. Right? Well, you never knew how long you'd be down that shelter, did you? Always knew when they were full in the dark, though, your thumb used to get warm, didn't it? Ah, kill another sunflower. And do you ever remember looking under the bed and seeing all the rust on your bed springs? That was years of steam that did that, you know. Years of steam, all that rust. So, Grandma's bringing up the rear with a Poe, you see. Granddad's now in the shelter, and my Grandma's shouting, "Hang on, Jack, I forgot me teeth!" And it's my Grandma shouting back, my Granddad shouting, "Keep running, you daft bugger, they're dropping bombs, not meat pies! And then we'd all finally get in this shelter. And we'd be sitting there like that, listening to these buzz bombs. And they used to drone, didn't they? And then it'd stop. Just suddenly stop. Every time that stopped, my granddad said exactly the same thing. He said, "You'll not get it if your name's not on it." What a balmy thing to say! You think of, and you've all said that. You'll not get it if your name... Who's going to go up there and put their name on one of them, eh? Nobody! You'll not get it if your name... I used to feel sorry for Mr. and Mrs. Doodlebug next door. I thought one of these days, you'll not get... But you see, all that last, what, 10, 15 minutes, we've been 20 minutes now, we've been chatting away, we're talking about those... If you tried to explain any of that to children today, they wouldn't know what we were talking about, would they? And it's not their fault, it's just that, as I said in the beginning when we were talking about chips at 11 bob a bag, the world has changed. It's become a different place now. We, and I use the term, anybody here over 40? Ish. We are now strangers in this world in so many ways. I'll give you a perfect example. My 8-year-old daughter Shelley shows me how to work the video and the television. I haven't got a clue. It's one of those, you know, you don't have to turn it on now. You sit in your chair and press a button. And I'm pressing all sorts of buttons. And she goes, "Oh, give it here, Dad." It's done. She beats me hands down at a computer game called Sonic the Hedgehog. "Come and play that." I said, "All right." I get 435 points. She gets 18,090. And values are totally gone. Values are out, they have no idea about the price of anything, and they talk about, I'll give you an example. My son, 13 before Christmas, he's 40 now, this was before Christmas, he was 13-year-old, 3 weeks before Christmas, he stood in front of me, he's got on a tracksuit, you know the tracksuit, you see, made out of nylon, whatever it is they're made of, flimsy stuff, you know, worth about £2. You've only got to look at it and there's a hole in the knee, right? But because it's got this magic word, Nike, written on it, Nike is a magic word, right? And the woman in the sports shop told him that Andre Agassi would be wearing that one at Wimbledon in June. This thing is now £74, right? On his feet, we used to call them plimsolls, didn't we? Plimsolls, pumps, daps. They're called trainers. Everything you have is trainers. And there's trainers for everything. For running to the loo, you've got a special pair of trainers. And they've got to be Reebok. Reebok is the word for trainers, and if they're not Reebok, he doesn't want to know. Because they're Reebok, they're £59.99, and that was in a sale. On his head, if I'd have come home with a threatening haircut with a step like that round my head, my mum would have sent me back and say, "Time to do it properly or you want your money back," right? son has paid £7.50 to have a step put in his head. I said, what's that? He said, a number naught. I said, a number? I said, it's a disaster, son. I said, it's a mess. What have you done? He said, for another £1, Dad, I could have had my initials carved in my hair and all. No. So you can picture it in all his glory. 3 weeks before Christmas, he stood in front of me. He said, we used to call that St. Vitus's dance. Can't keep still. He said, ready? What am I having? I said, pardon? He said, you know, Crizzy. I said, Crizzy? Yeah, me Crizzy for Crizzy, what am I getting? I said, if you don't change your attitude, sunshine, you won't be getting anything at all. Be pretty for Crizzy. So I haven't even thought about it yet. Anyway, I said, what you got in mind? He said, well, as it happens, as it happens, he said, I got my eye on a mountain bike. So I said, oh, mountain bike. I said, well, how much are they? He said, only 348 quid. You see, only 304. I said, well, you keep your eye on it, son, because you won't be getting your arse on it. No way. 348 pounds for a bike? You could buy a house for that, couldn't you? 2 back-to-backs. And he's saying, oh, I said, come here, boy, come on. Look, sit down, son. Let me explain something to you. I said, now listen. When I was a lad, he said, oh, God. Come here! Sit down, shut up! Now, when I was a boy, Christmas came round, we got a stocking. That's right, isn't it? Stocking. Maybe one main present. I remember, I used to run around, my granddad worked he was a coal miner, and he worked at a place called Betsanger Colliery. He moved down from Yorkshire in the bad time, found a job at Betsanger Colliery, and he was a coal miner. My grandma used to knit his socks for him, big long ones that came over the knee to protect his knees when he was kneeling down. So I used to get one of those for Christmas, you see, run around and find one of my granddad's long socks. We had a frill around the mantelpiece. Used to pin it up on this frill, you see, and in the hearth, a big old black leaded fireplace, and in the hearth used to leave a plate with a homemade mince pie and a glass of VP, British ruby style. 5 and 3pence a bottle that was. And in the morning used to come down, the mince pie was gone, a few crumbs left, sooty thumbprints all around the plate. VP was gone, his stocking was down off the back and it was laid out on the settee. Full of, I used to run back to the bottom of the stairs and shout, Mum! He's been! He's been, Mum! Back to me stocking, take out an apple, an orange. You try giving a kid apple and orange for Christmas now. There's a lot of it round your head, wouldn't there? Apple, orange, lump of coal. For. And then I used to have to walk outside with it on New Year's Eve and come back in. I never made that out. Apple, orange, lump of coal, maybe a bag of marbles, something like that, chocolate-covered penny or a new penny, a sugar mouse with a string tail. Pink or white they were, and you kept dropping them all, they licking them and then dropping them on the line, and you pick it up, there's more hairs and grit on it, sticking everywhere. So all day to get rid of it, it's horrible. a 6-inch ruler. I don't know why, I got one every Christmas. I think Tommy McMillan next door got the other half, I don't know. A compendium of games. Do you remember that was a rolled up bit of cardboard? And on one side was Ludo, the other side was Snakes and Ladders. So you could play. But you could never get it flat. Because it had been rolled up to go in your stocking. So when you put the counters on, they either fell in the middle or off the sides, depending on what game you were playing. That was a compendium of games. Maybe a whip and top. That was about it, really. A kazoo. Oh, and a duck-to-do. Do you remember those? A duck-to-do. If you were lucky enough to have a toilet roll, do you remember that cardboard tube in the middle? How was the fun with the duck-to-do? Until it went soggy, then you threw it away, didn't you? We were easy to please. We were easy to please. We didn't need mountain bikes, did we? This is how easy to please we were. Do you remember what a thrill it gave you when you were a kid? The very first day you discovered you could put your left hand under your right arm and go... Easy to please. If you got really good, you could do a tune. Oh, glad. You be careful, somebody else got to sit there tomorrow, don't you make a mess? Easy to please. We didn't need mountain bikes, did we? I had a bike wheel. No spokes. Just a bike wheel, and a lot of firewood. Brum, brum. Brum, 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 brum. Stopping off at every lamppost up our street. Move right down the carpet. Any more fares? Hold tight, ding ding. If you did that today, they'd put you away, wouldn't they? But we had great games. Lots of the games you don't see now kids playing. Great game. And depending on where you came from in the country, these games had different names. And I never realised it until I started doing this a few years. A perfect example is jackstones. Five stones. Depending on where you lived, or where you came from. There was another game that had about loads of different, it was that, do you remember that game where one kid was like that up against the wall? No, not that game, no. I was watching. One kid was up against the wall, and then all the rest of the gang was sort of the same, all the way back like a long track, and then the last kid used to have to run, climb all over at the backs and finish up with one kid on the front, then their neck, and the idea was to all finish off on this one kid, right? And he's hanging on. There's blood coming out the end of his fingers, he's clinging to this wall, and he's slowly sinking. But if he collapses, he's there again. And what did you call that? Jimmy.
1, 2, 3, all over.
What did you call it? Who? Jimmy Wagtail. Somebody last week called it on bomb biddly bye biddly bum bobo or something. We call it I Jimmy Knacker. See, all different. What was that other game? Knock down ginger. Was that the door knockers? Oh God. Oh, I used to get in trouble with that. Mrs. Evans and Mrs. Lowen lived opposite each other right up the other end of our street. And they both hated me. I don't know why, I was a model child. But they both hated me. And I used to be the cheeky one of the gang. I used to do their door knockers right across the street, so you lump a string on each end, tighten, and then pull a string in it and run like hell. Mrs. Evans would be out her door like a shot every time. And I'm sure she was watching me from around the curtain. She used to say, Fred! I know that was you. I saw you do it. Get up your own end. Remember that? Get up your own end. You're like your mother, you. I don't know what she meant there, but there you go. That's another story. The great games that you don't see now. And you didn't have to worry. You could do what you wanted. You didn't have to worry. Hopscotch. Don't worry about cars or lorries or bikes coming up. Draw your hopscotch right up the middle of the road and play. Hang on. Skipping. We had a skipping rope as thick as your arm. 3 kids on each end to hold it. Right across the road. Take about 5 minutes getting it going. All right. You ready? Come on then. All in together, girls. This frosty weather go. When I shout your birthday, you must run out. And all the rest of the gang will be stood there on the sofa. Trying to get in. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. You up and have another go, we must have been bounded. Forwards, backwards, sideways. Do you remember that? Just think back now. In your gang, we were all in a gang, weren't we? All in a gang, about 10 or 12 of you. Everybody was in a gang. And in your gang, there was one kid who didn't quite strike 12. Every gang had one. His lift didn't go to the top floor, you know what I'm saying, don't you? The lights were on, but there was nobody home. In our gang, it was a kid called Cephas Hanley. The only person in all the world I've ever known called Cephas. His dad was a coal man. And Cephas had a short haircut, and he had a fair isle pullover. Wasn't really fair isle. Do you remember those pullovers that women used to knit with all different coloured walls? Well, I'd start off with a bit of grey, run out of that, find a bit of green, a bit of pink, brown, 2-ply, 4-ply, didn't matter, did it? She knitted up one of them for him and told him it was fair isle. He was starting not to believe it. And she wasn't a very good knitter, so the bead was off his shoulder and not real lot. And it had holes in the elbows, and it had it, I think she used to wash it in boiling water because it all went thick. And shrunk, and he had about 4 inches of shirt showing underneath it. And Cephas used to have this candle that came I can see him now, Bogey Hanley. I couldn't take my eyes off this candle. I was hypnotised by it. It used to take about 1/4 of an hour. Creeping down. Real slow. And the lower it got, the wider my eyes and mouth used to go. I was like, and just at that split second when you thought, God, it's going to go over the top, you just go, and it disappeared back up again. And right back up. Maybe another 15 minutes. Well, he'd do this about 4 or 5 times, you see. Then he'd get fed up sniffing, and he'd go... There'd be a big snail trail all up the... Come on, Miss After. You can see him now, can't you? Hey, you Cephas! He's here! He's still got that bloody pullover on, oh, he was Cephas, Andy. Yeah, we used to have this game called Forwards, Backwards, Sideways, just for Cephas. We used to blindfold Cephas, and all the rest of the gang would stand around him in a circle, and one of us would hit him on the head with a shovel. And watch him, and he'd go forwards, backwards, I bet he's walking around this world now thinking, if ever I lay my hands on that Brian Day, the times he hit me on the head with that spear and that sucking. Great games. Queenio. Do you remember a game called Queenio?
Yeah.
That was one where whoever was on it threw the book. Oh,
That's right.
now there. That's a game and a half deciding who's on it. All right, gang. We're going to have a game of Queenio now. Tommy, you're on it. I'm not on it. I was on it yesterday. No, you weren't. That was Bobby Smith yesterday. No, it wasn't. That was the day before. No, the day before was Arlene Morgan. No, that was Kay Macmillan. No, all right. We'll do. Get your spuds out. Ready? Come on in. 1 potato, 2 potato. 3
potatoes, 4, 5 potatoes, 6 potatoes, 7 potatoes, and more.
1 potato, 2 potato. You had a big gang. By the time you dibbed and found out who was on, it was dark and you had to go in, didn't you? Dick Barton was on. We had 3 girls in our gang. Margaret Crick, Arlene Morgan and Kay Macmillan. And Margaret Crick really fancied me. Oh, she had the hots for me. She really had taste. She had the hots for me, Margaret Crick. And if ever I was on it at Queenio, she would fight tooth and nail to get the ball. You could hear her kicking and punching kids twice her size, just so she could get the ball, you see. I know why, so she could tuck up a knicker leg. I knew what she was going to do with it. You know those dark green ones?
Navy blue.
With a pocket. Dark green or navy blue. You had a pocket. You haven't still got yours, have you? Well, not on. Keep your hanky in it, yeah. Good. Well, girls, you do not realise, or probably you do, the things you used to do to us fellas. The teasing, you're winding up you used to do to us fellas with those green and navy blue knickers. You really used to, you tuck them, tuck your frock in them. And you get a couple of tennis balls. When you thought we were all watching, all the fellas were watching, you go up against the wall, you go 1, 2, 3, yeah, I saw Mrs. Rotten lot. And then when you got our complete and undivided attention, 3 handstands up against the wall. So if I was on it at Queenio, you could hear Margaret Crick kicking at all these kids so she could get the ball, you see. And then they'd all say, Queenio, Queenio, who's got the ball here? And you'd turn round and all the gang would be stood there like that. Like soldiers looking straight ahead, not giving the game away. Except Margaret Crick. She'd be like that. Letting me know you. So I'd fall for, I'd say, is it you, Margaret Crick? Have you got the ball? And she'd say, Why don't you come and find out? 9 years old. Why don't you come and find out? My mum stopped me playing with her. Said she had dicks in her head. Nicks. My mum was a Yorkshire woman, she called them dicks. What you got to play with that cricks, lass? Got dicks in her head. Nitty Nora, come, she had to have vinegar in it, you see? Do you remember Nitty Nora? Oh, she got round with that bite, didn't she? All right, come here, get your head over that paper. All right, next. That's some memories there, isn't there? I didn't care if Margaret Crick had dicks in her head, I loved her. Margaret Crick was my first true love. I loved her with a passion. Margaret Crick and I used to play doctors and nurses. Yeah, now this proves beyond all doubt that Cephas Hanley was a few chops short of a full barbecue. Anybody knows that only two people can play doctors and nurses. It's obvious, isn't it? Not Cephas. If ever he thought me and Margaret Crick were going to be away for a quick game of doctors and nurses, he'd be there like a shot. Can I play? I want a game. So rather than waste valuable time explaining to Cephas that only two people could play, we used to say, yeah, all right, Cephas, you can have a game. You could be the ambulance man. And I used to lend him my bike wheel and a bit of firewood, and we'd send him off looking for patients. While Margaret Crick and I got on with the serious business of playing doctors and nurses. You know, show me yours and I'll show you mine. Yeah, I guess you did. You did. So we all did. That was the only way you could find things. Your dad was away at the war and your mum wouldn't tell you anything, would she? And there was no sex education at school, so you had to find things out by playing mothers and fathers and doctors and nurses. When I first saw Margaret Crick, I thought she'd snapped hers off.
Where's your Billy?
It took me about 8 weeks to find out she hadn't, but that's a different story anyway. I didn't care if she had dicks in her head, I loved her. When she got that impy tiger on her lips and that purple ointment on, that put me off her lips, she wanted to kiss me. I chucked her in there. Got great times with the gang. Oh, wonderful times with the gang. Saturday morning pictures, you remember that? Saturday Rush. Every Saturday morning, all meet under the lamppost, 9:30. We're all going to Saturday morning pictures. Off we went to Saturday morning pictures. 12 of you went, 2 paid. Happened all over the country at the same time. 12 went, 2 paid, the other 10 went down the side, and you let them in through the push bars, didn't you? We had an Odeon deal, a 2,000-seater, it was a massive cinema. Absolute, and every Saturday morning it was packed to capacity. They used to have a house full sign out on the pavement, and they'd taken 3 and 9 at the kiosk. They never worked it out. And they'd all be running around in there waiting for it to start throwing things and shouting on it. Oh, Tommy, what are you doing out there in the balcony? What are you doing down here with us? Are you with your sister? Oh, right. Got any sweets? What you got? James? Short off. Aniseed bowls, yeah, that's all right, guys. Thrown down. You want a bit of chocolate? Yeah, what? Things going all. And the manager used to get up in front of the screen every Saturday morning, and he was really tall, about 6'7", Hitler haircut and a moustache and a brown double-breasted tweed suit, and he used to talk through this microphone with springs on it. And when he was talking, it used to sound like he was talking through his nose. And he used to make, and all these red lights shining up him, so he looked like the devil, with a big shadow on the screen at the back. And he used to make the same announcement every Saturday. He used to say,
if another missile...
so you know, we were all thinking, what the hell's a missile?
If another missile hits this screen,
I shall cancel the performance. And there's 2,000 kids sitting there going, and you watch all your favourites, all the heroes. Flash Gordon, remember Flash Gordon? Flash Gordon, do you know he's 93 years old now? Just calls himself Gordon now, of course, but he's still alive. Sabu the Elephant Boy, remember him? Sabu the Elephant. He's 88. Even the elephants have forgotten him now. My favourite was Hopalong Cassidy. He was the governor. Hoppy, as I knew him, could have a fight with a baddie. They'd be rolling down this hill, knocking 7 bales out of each other. They fall off the edge of the cliff, a 500 feet drop into the river. That's slowing at 500 miles an hour, and they're still fighting. And they're getting bounced off the side of the canyon and off the rocks, and they're swept 7 miles down the river through the rapids, and they're still knocking 7 bales out of each other. There's a 1,000-foot waterfall, and over they go, and they're still knocking it out. And you get a close-up then, the camera comes in close as Hoppy lands the final blow. Knocks the baddie out. Drags him out of the water. Didn't leave him in there to drown, because Hoppy was a goodie. Drags him out of the water, up onto a rock at the side of the river. Hoppy's hat was still on his head. He was bone dry. And his horse was standing there waiting for him. How did that horse know? Brilliant horse. Brilliant horse. And so when you came out, you see, you were no longer you. You'd been transformed into a world of fantasy, and you became your hero for the day, whether it was Hopalong Cassidy, or Errol Flynn, or John Wayne, whoever it was, Tom Mix, Gene, you didn't walk home or get on the bus, you galloped. Okay, good! We used to go picnics. Anybody go to a picnic? Picnics with a gang, what a memory. Right, we're all going on a picnic tomorrow. All meet here under the lamppost, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, all right? Okay, all bring your own sandwiches. Brian, you bring the water. Yeah, all right. 10 o'clock the next morning, all meet under the lamppost. Everybody here? Yeah, we're all here. All got your sandwiches? Yeah. Brian, you got the water? Yeah. Okay, we're going on a picnic. Going on a picnic. 5 minutes down the road, first bit of grass you could find. Okay, this is big enough to have our picnic here. Wallet. It's 10:05 in the morning. I've just had my breakfast. This thing took all yesterday to plan. You can still see my house. And we sat on the side of the street on a bit of grass having our picnic. All right, I'll get your sandwiches out. All right, get your sandwiches out. Right. What you got, Tom? Dripping. Got the brown stuff off the bottom. Yeah. Great. What you got, Brian? Blackcurrant jam, okay. Right. All right. You want to swap? Yeah, swap your jam. Yeah. Jam, good. What you got, Bob?
load of paste.
Oh, posh. Want to swap top? Yeah, I'll swap you some. You want to swap top? Yeah, top. Dripping, low paste, dripping, pass the ball around. Yeah, all right. Oh, blimey. Taking big sweets. Won't be enough for me at that rate. My bottle. I'm sure better drink first. Oh God, look. It's Margaret Trick there with a Rupert Tiger on her mouth. Cephas Stanley sitting next to her with that candle. He sniffs it up before he drinks out of my bottle. Time that bottle got round the circle and back to me. There's an inch left in it. It's floating in breadcrumbs, butter paste, bits of blackcurrant dripping on God. And they're all sitting there staring at you, daring you to drink it down. Wonder we didn't get every disease under God's earth. But it was all, you see, we didn't catch things, did we? And all medicines for kids in those days were guaranteed to do one of two things. They either cured your cough or made you go. That's what medicines did. And my mum had a fetish about you getting pneumonia or being regular, so I had all these things every morning before I went to school. Scott's Emulsion, California Syrup of Vicks, castor oil, worm cake, Parish's food, Cenopos. Oh. No, not X-Lax, didn't have X-Lax, no, it was posh, wasn't it, X-Lax? Now my mum used to sit me on a pole and tell me a ghost story. I had the same effect as X-Lax. And Friday night was a marmy. I was thinking of bath night, yeah, a marmy. A Friday night was ladies used to wash their hair on a Friday. And I remember seeing my mum in the kitchen. She used to wash her hair and then towel dry it, and then she'd have a pudding basin. And she mixed some of this umami wave set stuff, like slime gel they call it now. But she mixed it with some water to make it go further, stir it up with this tail comb, and she'd have a broken bit of mirror like that, leaning up against the wall in the kitchen. And she'd stir all this, and then comb it through her hair, and then she'd make a wave like that. And she'd looking at herself in the mirror, holding this thing with two fingers like that. On the floor, there was an OXO tin. Big OXO tin. And she forgot to put it on the table, that's why it's on the floor. And she'd reach it, still looking at herself, and it was full of those bulldog clips with teeth in. They were lethal then. She's reaching down. Another OXO, no. Finish up with a head full of bulldog clips and a scarf around it, sitting like that in front of the fire, getting corned beef legs, trying to look like Betty Davis. No, I was thinking of bath night. Bath night, Friday night was bath night, and all the kids used to have, we used to bring old tin bath in off the nail, in front of the old fireplace, and so all the pots and pans went in, and then all the kids had a bath on a Friday. Well, me being the youngest, I was last in. And do you know what, for years I could never work out how that water got warmer and higher by the time it was my turn. I never knew what was going on. I thought it was the fairy soap turning it green. I didn't know what was happening. I was dirtier when I came out, wasn't I? Did anybody here have a posh auntie? Oh, God, one who didn't want to come to your house. I had one, Auntie Daisy. She lived in Cheriton. It was Folkestone really, but she called it Cheriton because it sounded posher. And she used to come and see us about once every 6 months on a Sunday. First train out of Folkestone Junction. She'd be at our house 9:15 on a Sunday morning. And my mum used to say, go to the door and meet your Auntie Daisy. I hated her. I used to go to the door and open the door, there'd be Auntie Daisy, about 7 foot tall she was, and she used to wear this long dark coat that went right down to the floor nearly, and a pair of pointed shoes with bars across the front of the feet like that. And she had a shiny black straw shiny hat with a big bunch of fruit in it there. And a great big thick silver needler went right through her head and came out this side of her. And she had a mangy, one-eyed fox with half its teeth missing hanging around here. And a paw that used to go like that. And she used to bend down and say, have you got a kiss for your Auntie Daisy? And this box of English straight off. It's a nightmare.
It's over there.
She'd be there all Sunday, and then we'd have to go to Sunday school to show a good impression, you see, because Auntie Daisy was there, all sent us in Sunday best. I hated Sunday best. School days I loved. I used to enjoy school day. School, I used to go to stuff in school, hand-me-downs from my brother Gary, or stuff from the Army Surplus School. I went to school for 3 years dressed as a Japanese admiral. I loved it. I wanted to salute. We didn't care my sister was a Gurkha. We didn't mind. But Sundays I had to wear this Sunday best, horrible Sunday best. My Sunday best from the feet up was a pair of dark brown lace-up boots with 100 Blakeys in each sole. Do you remember that? My granddad used to wear all these Blakeys in a sole like that. I'd go out sparking, making sparks, and then come back and he'd hammer more in. The leather never actually touched the road. So always protected by these studs of Blakeys. 5 years later, your feet are like that in these boots, but they're still brand new on the bottom, full of Blakeys. A pair of dark brown lace-up boots, a pair of dark grey socks up to my knee, a pair of navy blue corduroy trousers. Not long and not short. They overlap the socks by about 4 inches there. A navy blue gabardine Mac. That was my mum's pride and joy. I think she got that off the man that came round, you know. Probably. Tell you. My Mickey Mouse gas mask in a cardboard box or whatever. A balaclava. My grandma had knitted this thick grey balaclava that I always had to wear, and she'd knitted a 9-inch wide, 3-foot long flap on each side of the neck of this thing. On a windy day, I looked like Dumbo the elephant guy. But on a Sunday, it used to have to be neat. So this bit came round here like this, and this bit came round, then crossed at the front and pinned right up my back with a big nappy. When I was a kid, I had a slight turn in my left eye. My left eye with a slight squint in it, you see. Do you remember those round spectacles that kids used to have? I used to have a pair of them, but a big lump of dirty elastoplast over this one, like that, to make this eye come round. I think that was the idea. And a leather helmet. A Biggles type leather helmet on top of me balaclava. What a prize pudding I looked in my Sunday best. Off to Sunday school, 2 miles to walk in a pouring rain, hating every step of the way, dragging my feet, didn't want to get there, pouring, but by the time I got there, was soaked to the skin, and it's dripping off my leather helmet and into my balaclava and out and through there, and you can't get it off because you've got to be Houdini to get at that bit. And I'm stood there in Sunday school for an hour and a half singing. I'm a GPP man. I know I am, I'm sure I am. I wasn't happy at all. Didn't want to be, couldn't wait to get out. As soon as those doors, I was first out. All the way out, all the way. Mum, take me pin off. All right, son, go and wash your hands, come and sit down, Sunday dinner. And she's coming around with the plates, and as she passed me, she said, when I say have some meat, you say no. When I say have some meat, you say no, otherwise it won't be enough for Auntie Daisy. Just cut up this meat, passing it round. Brian, have some meat. I said, I said, no thanks, Mum. I don't want any meat. She said, have some meat! I thought, has she changed her mind? What? Oscar winning performance, what is it? I thought, no, I better stick with plan A. I said, no, I don't want any meat today, Mum. I'm not hungry. She said, you're wicked! There's children all over the world! You've heard this one, and everybody should. There's children all over the world starving for what you've got on your plate. I said, I'm not surprised, Mum, there's nothing on it. And she clipped me around here and filled me up with sprouts, and I can't stand sprouts. They make me eat. leave the sprouts. I think, I don't know, I may do. I'll wait for afters. I'll fill up on afters. Like you get here, you get other places you don't get afters anymore, do you? Not real afters, you know. Like it's great, but everywhere else you get yoghurt, mousse, angel delight, not real afters like sponge pudding custard or Yorkshire pudding with some jam on and sugar and spotted dick. Always knew when we got spotted dick in our house. My mum used to be walking around with one stocking missing. I thought, I bet that's spotted dick today. This day, I'll never forget this day, it was semolina. My mum, you couldn't get rice. It was a luxury, wasn't it? My mum could work wonders with semolina. She used to put it in a big enamel dish with some milk and a little knob of margarine or butter if she could spare it, and then sprinkle nutmeg on it. Put that in the oven, that used to rise up, soak up all, and then a brown skin on the top. God, I can taste it now, it's delicious. I'm going to fill up on semolina. So she's dishing out the semolina, and she keeps passing me. I said, Mum, can I have some semolina, please? She said, no, you wouldn't eat your meat, you're not having any semolina. I thought, bloody cruel. They were all sent to bed early because Auntie Daisy's still there. And we used to have to top and tail. Did anybody do that? Yeah. Top and tail. Big house, 4-bedroom house, but bearing in mind there's grandma and granddad, the 7 kids and my mum, you know. So I used to share with my 2 eldest sisters, Sally and Mary, big double bed. They were that end either side, and I was this end in the middle, feet down between them, you see. And Sally and Mary, both of them were habitual bedwetters. Every night, regular spot work, one of them would wet them. And a rainbow in my bedroom for 3 years. I remember sleeping right across the room. My mum used to say, what end do you want to sleep, son? I said, up the shallow end, please. Mum would be sorry. So we're in bed early, didn't really want to be there, but it's a cold night, you know, no central heating and stuff like that. We got a flannelette sheet on us, and then the old coat on top of that, you know, old army grey coat, you know, keep us warm. And they're pulling the coat up there, and I'm pulling it, they're pulling it, I'm pulling it, tucking it away. 5 minutes of this, and Sally shouts down, Mum! Brian's pulled the coat off us! In front of posh Auntie Daisy. My mother's come up the stairs 5 at a time. You'd have thought the 3rd World War had started. She burst into the bedroom, got Sally out of bed, pyjamas round her ankles, across her knees. She said, wait, God, Auntie Daisy's here. That coat's an eider-down. I don't know. Poor old Sally's crying her eyes out. Another 5 minutes and it all goes quiet again. We're lying in bed and then they pull the coat up in and I pull it back and they're pulling it and I'm pulling it. Another 5 minutes goes by, Sally shouts down saying, Mum! Brian's pulled the sleeve off the eider-down, Mum! Hey, listen, we've been talking a long time. Just before we go, this is for the gentlemen now. Fellas, we were talking about girls' navy blue and green knickers earlier on. Here's an item of clothing for the gentlemen here. Fellas, do you remember maroon woolen swimming trunks? That's all you can get, maroon or navy blue. I never forget my first pair of swimming trunks, they were maroon wool. My grandma knitted them for me. Oh, so chuffed. Mum! She got this couple of ounces of rough wool from somewhere and 4 wooden needles and knitting me up these pairs of swimming. I was proud of them. Mum, take me to the beach, Mum. Can I go to the beach, Mum? Grandma's knit me some swimming trunks. Mum, take me to the beach. My mum finally caved in and took me down to Deal Beach with my brother Gary and a couple of my sisters. And there I was on Deal Beach in my maroon woolen swimming trunks. Held up with a snake belt. Black and white stripe. Did I look the business or what? Do you know what my mum said? Don't go in the water. I said, what? Don't go in the water. If you go in the water, I'll kill you. Mums used to say things like that, didn't they? If you do that, I'll kill you. If you fall off that wall and break your legs, don't you come running to me crying. And does anybody in this room tonight know where Kingdom Come is? was going to get knocked there 4 times a week and I never found out where he was. So there I am on Deal Beach. I'm getting a bit closer to the water's edge, a bit closer, and my mum's sitting on the beach reading True Confessions or whatever it was. And a wave came. Then, whoa! That wave nearly got me, Mum. Did you see that? But it didn't. A bit closer this time. Another wave, a bit bigger. Whoa! I nearly went in there, Mum. But I didn't. But I nearly did, but I didn't. My big brother Gary couldn't stand the suspense any longer. He's watching me. He crept up the arm and went. I was in the English Channel up to my knees. My maroon woolen swimming trunks soaked up half of the English Channel. You could hear it go. See the tide going out. God, where's it all going? And I looked up and I saw my mum smiling at me. I thought, trouble. If ever we were out in company or there were people around and I did something wrong, my mum used to smile at me and turn into a ventriloquist. She was brilliant. She used to say things like, come here. I'll swing for you. Swing for you? What did she want to swing for? I don't know what she wanted. Come here, I'm going to hit you. And when my mum hit you, look out. She was the best hitter in all the world. My mum used to hit me with words. She used to get hold of me by the neck. This hand was like a vice and you couldn't get it free. And she used to hit me with words and she'd start off slow until she thought of more words. And she'd say things like, how many times have I told you not to go in? Oh, God, ma'am! Oh, no! Don't think of any more words, ma'am! Sometimes she thought of millions and millions of words. Oh, Mum, Daddy! And then while she was hitting me, she used to forget what it was. She used to say, who do you think you are? And then she forgot who she was. Do you know who I am? Then she remembered. I am your mother! So you can picture it, can't you? There I am in Deal Beach, up to my knees, which is freezing cold at any time of the year, English Channel. My mum's saying, come here, I'm going to hit you. And I'm frightened to death. I thought, I better cry. You ever tried crying when you're frightened to death and frozen stiff? I dragged myself up onto one foot, up on the other one, and I pulled myself out of the English Channel. The English Channel now reappears. Gallons and gallons of it gushing out from between my legs. Where's it all been? My maroon woolen swimming trunks have turned into a pair of long, dark, red, baggy trousers. Which has upset me no end. My mum's saying, come here, I'm going to hit you. And I'm trying to cry and talk at the same time. A load of rubbish came out. My mum wasn't impressed at all.
Come here, I'm gonna hear ya.
And me like a prat Wen? But your voice goes up an octave and you stamp even faster because you're really desperate now. And you go... Come here, I'm gonna hear ya. She's undoing me snake belt. Oh God, I'm gonna get it. She's rolling down in my room with the swing trucks. Oh my God, here it comes. But the dye had come out. Me Willie had got all red. And she thought I'd hurt myself, so she never hit me. I got off. Well, here's a few memories, eh? All true, eh? Some people were asking earlier on if I have a tape. Yes, I do. It's a full hour, and it's basically what you've heard tonight. And I'll be round there if you'd like to come and get one. And there's a photograph goes with it, signed as well. And every penny you spend on my tape goes to sick animals. I don't know they're sick when I bet on them, of course, but you find out later about things happen. If you'd like one, as I say, after the show, I'll be round there. We'd like to form a nice queue along the wall there and then across the back and down there by the bar to get to everybody. Those memories we were talking about, put a little song together that says exactly what we've been doing over the last 50 years. See if you like it. Rows of back-to-back houses covered in dirt and grime. Children playing in the street and washing on the line. Scarf tucked in your jersey to keep you from the cold. I used to wear a woolly balaclava when I was 9 years old. When I was a lad, neighbours were neighbours. When I was a lad, doing you favours. People giving people a hand, no matter how small. When I was a lad, Saturday pictures. When I was a lad, corduroy britches. When I was a lad, those were the greatest days of all. School from Monday to Friday, learning to read and write. Grandad sitting on the doorstep in the fading light. Tin bath hanging on a 6-inch nail and lino on the floor. Lavvy down the bottom of the backyard and sit with your foot against the door. When I was a lad,